Quilt It, the long arm quilting show is brought to you by Handy Quilter, manufacturer of easy-to-use long arm quilting machines, designed by a quilter for quilters. YLI, you'll love it. Paintbrush Studio, inspirational fabrics. Welcome to Quilt It, the long arm quilting show. I'm Jodie Davis. Just you wait and see what Cathy Franks has brought to show us today. You'll be saying, I didn't know I could do that on a long arm quilting machine. Hi, Cathy.
Hi, Jodie, and that's so true. You know, Jodie, anything you can do on a home machine on a straight stitch, you can do on these long arm machines.
Like this project right in front of us?
This project is a perfect example of what we're going to be doing.
You've used yarn
And flash and trash to create this.
Flash and trash.
Flash and trash. And this is one of my fun things. I tell people, don't throw away anything. Save everything in little plastic bags. It's not trash because we can turn it into treasures.
Oh, great. Well, let's get started on this.
Okay, this is the finished product. This is what you wanted to strive for. And what I'm going to show you today is the roadmap of how to create this project.
Okay.
The first thing you want to do is have your roadmap. And you don't have to be an artist. Anybody can draw a tree like this. But I just chalked it with regular chalkboard chalk.
Okay.
That's all I did. And now what we're going to do is we are going to fill it in with yarn. These are yarns that I just picked up at the yarn shop. These are 50% off. I like those.
Wow. And they look like tree bark.
They look like
They're
tree
perfect.
bark. And you know, I just bought these because I like them. And just had them in a box hanging around. But I picked those because I looked at some of the trees in my backyard and I thought, these are colors that go in there. So what you're going to do now is you're going to cut a couple of lengths of yarn. You don't have to be careful how you cut it. And the key to doing this technique is you have to anchor your yarns first.
Okay, now if we're going to sew, that means you need your zinger. This is a rite of passage when you're on the show.
Thank
So
you.
you have
And
your
you
quilted
do
zinger.
you need scissors for this technique.
Yes.
Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to be careful where you put your fingers. So I'm going to go around you, and I want you to see where I'm taking my fingers and I'm holding them. Just like this. Now I have an extended base on the bottom of this machine because it will help me sew a little bit easier.
What's the extended base?
An extended base is a plastic object that sits in here that makes this a little bit longer so you can hold your fingers on it instead of just the regular.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to come up here and very carefully, you can see where I have longer ends here because we don't want to have to go to the hospital with a finger in our a needle in our finger. And you're going to hold these down and you're going to take a stitch up, down, always move your machine to the side to bring your bobbin thread up. You're going to take these threads over here, and this is the trickiest thing that we're going to do right now.
Okay.
And let me get that needle down, and then you're just going to stitch across.
So you're just tacking it in place?
I'm tacking it in place. Now, all you're going to do is just hold these taut.
Okay.
And because I kind of want these to lay side by side, I'm going to lay it like this, hold my finger down, and just do a little curvy stitch.
Oh, so you're just couching them down?
I'm couching them down. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to come all the way down here and curve it down.
Now that's easy. That doesn't take any skill whatsoever.
It doesn't. Then you're just going to take this. See how I have my finger here? I'm going to hold it down here. I'm going to get these under the hopping foot. Now I discovered with this technique that it's easier if the hopping foot is in the up position because a lot of these hopping feet are so low to the throat plate that it's hard to do. So the hopping foot is up.
Okay.
I am going to again tack it in place. Now you're going to reach up and you're going to pull taut again. You're going to start your machine and you're just going to come up.
Do the same thing as you did before.
Do the same thing as you did before.
You know, it really does.
All the way to the top.
It really does look like a tree, Cathy.
It really does. Another thing that you can do with yarn or thread or strips of fabric, really ribbon, anything that you can sew through, you can use on this technique. Another thing that I like to do is to blend all of these yarns and threads together. And I want to show you how to do that. It's really simple. Again, we're going to take this. we're going to anchor it here. This is the key to doing all of this. Then I come down to the bottom. You're going to come in and you're going to make a loop like this. Now, I'm not going to completely knot it yet because I'm going to get a little object called a spinner.
Oh.
This is a spinner, and you're going to put it in the little hook, and you're going to tie that. Then you're going to stand back, and you're going to spin. And you're going to go around.
Oh, you get a whole different texture that way.
What's amazing is if you get some metallic thread in this,
Ooh,
it's gorgeous.
pretty.
It's gorgeous. Now what you're going to do is just, again, hold this taut, and you're going to come down and stitch across.
That is very pretty.
And let me bring your machine to the side. You can see the difference between spinning it
Yes.
and not spinning it.
Yep. I can think of all sorts of uses for that.
I take this and put it right
Yes,
here
that's what I was
between my
thinking.
border and my quilt. Another technique that is really wonderful using thread, because I absolutely love to use my thread, is you can actually use this wonderful machine as a loom.
Loom? Would that be a handy loom?
It would be a handy loom. What you're going to do is you're going to take your thread and you are going to wrap it around
get
the
this for
handles.
you.
Yes, if you can be my wonderful assistant,
Be your thread holder any
you'll
day.
be my thread holder. And we're just going to wrap it around the handles like this.
It looks so
Very
pretty on
easy.
there.
These threads are fabulous. This is my favorite thread right now. It's called Gladiolus by
Oh, doesn't
YLI.
it look like it?
It's gorgeous.
It's scrumptious.
Now you're going to cut the end so it doesn't get involved in all of the others. You're going to take this off and look at the wonderful,
Oh,
solid,
yes.
variegated thread that you get.
Uh-huh.
It's absolutely fabulous. Now, what I did with these, again, I used the YLI jean stitch because it's very, very heavy. And what I did to get this technique is, again, I'm going to put this right here,
Oh.
and I'm going to take this down, and let me get this going the proper way. I'm going to get this under the hopping foot again, long ends so I don't get my fingers, and I am going to tack this down
Like you did with the yarn for the
with
tree.
the other one. I'm going to cut this longer than I need. Bring it up here, and now I will get the blue and do the same thing. And I do it wherever I want to. Wherever I want to.
See why I introduced the show saying I didn't think I could do that with a long arm machine?
You
It's
can.
amazing.
You can. And what we're going to do is we're just going to come down and keep filling this in with as much thread as we think we need. Again, holding this down, stitching across. So now, Jody, I'm going to show you how you can put borders on with a long arm. Borders.
Borders with a long arm.
With a long arm.
Okay.
It's very simple to do. Basic steps. First, what you're going to do is you're going to chalk a line right here. You're going to make sure that it's at a 45-degree angle.
We want everything
here.
to end up square.
You want everything done square. Then you're going to take a line, and I use Elmer's school glue.
Oh.
And you're going to put a little line of Elmer's school glue
You're
right
gluing
down here. I'm gluing it down, but I'm making sure that the glue won't be where the 1/4 inch seam allowance will be, just to make sure I don't get any glue into the mechanisms of the machine.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Then I'm going to take my border, make sure it's bigger than what you need. Unlike other borders where you make sure it's the exact same size you need, I'm going to cut mine a little bit longer.
Okay.
Then you're going to lay it down right along that chalk mark, and you're going to press this with a hot iron,
With an iron.
because the iron will make the glue adhere to the fabrics, so it won't move around on you. Then another thing a lot of people don't know, on these machines with the hopping foot, from the center of the hopping foot to the outside of the hopping foot is a 1/4 inch seam allowance.
There you go.
So it's really, really easy. What you're going to do is you're going to bring your hopping foot over. You're going to find the edge of where your border is.
Just like you would with the presser foot on your machine.
Correct. You're going to, again, bring your needle up. Make sure the thread comes up so you don't get a bunch of thread mess under there. You're going to then start to sew. And right now, you can either sew freehand, or, because I have the extended base under here, you can take a ruler, which will give you a much more accurate seam, put it in there, put the edge of the ruler right where the edge of your fabric is. And because this is 1/4 of an inch, hold this down and start to sew.
And the ruler just rides against the ruler.
And as you can see, my hands are holding the ruler as I'm going down.
And it'll be straight.
And it'll be straight.
And the other thing I just figured out why you did the glue is because this is a long arm machine and that foot is hopping up and down. It's a hopping foot, whereas on your sewing machine you'd have the foot down and you'd have the feed dogs, and that would keep the fabric from shifting. But the glue here serves that purpose.
Exactly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my bobbin thread up. What you want to do now to help clean it up, cut a little bit of this off.
Goodness gracious, I never would have thought you'd be adding borders on a long arm machine.
Are you ready for magic?
Oh, sure. Hey.
All right. Here we go.
Whoa!
Borders.
And then here, these
And
come
then
down.
you just take these down. And what I do at home is I press.
Yes.
Then I will take these down.
And you press right on here.
I press right on here. Oh, listen, this is also a wonderful pressing machine. I've learned so many things. But you just hold these down and then you come across and tack these down. So there you have it.
Well, we'll be back with Cathy showing us more uses for this loom pressing long arm machine when Quilt It comes back.
We are the Handy Quilter Studio educators, and we want you to know why we love our Handy Quilter quilting machines.
Handy Quilter quilting machines are innovative. Check out the color touch screens, 2 kinds of stitch regulation, and computer-guided quilting.
Handy Quilter quilting machines are intuitive and easy to use, and they come in a size that fits your quilting style.
Handy Quilter offers training, service, and ongoing education. We care about your quilting experience.
Handy Quilter quilting machines are designed by a quilter for quilters. We'll be at a quilt shop near you or a show. Come give one a test drive. To learn more, call or click for a free demo DVD or
Follow the truck to Handy Quilter.
Quilted is back with Cathy Franks, who has been knocking my socks off with the subject of you can do that with a long arm?
That's right, Jody. In fact, this entire vest was made on the long arm.
You're kidding, even the fringe?
Even the fringe, including the fabulous purse
Oh my goodness.
that goes with it. It's amazing what this can do. Let me just drop the purse for a second.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how easy this is to do. This is the fringe. This is what we're going to use. This is yarn. This is our fabulous thread from YLI. We're going to cut a length of it and a length of the yarn. And I'm going to show you how to do this. We're going to cut our lengths. We're going to lay them down. We're going to bring our machine over. And we're just going to quilt across the top of it to anchor it down. Then what you're going to do, and this is where your hands are important, we're going to use our fingers as guides. We're going to loop around this finger, go under the hopping foot, loop around this finger, go under the hopping foot again, loop, under the hopping foot, loop. Then you are going to stitch across, and you're going to continue the same way all the way down to the end of your project. Loop, under the hopping foot, loop, under the hopping foot, and press.
So
and
it's
stitch.
a finger loom this time.
This is a finger loom. You can either leave it open like this, or you can come back down and lay all of this down and stitch across like so. Let me move the machine out of the way. Now, can you see this is held down and these are open?
2 very different looks.
2 very different looks. You can also do it with just thread. This is
no yarn.
no yarn. This is wonderful because if you have a project that you can't find yarn for, you can make your own with the thread. To illustrate this, let me show you again my very favorite thread by YLI, gladiolus.
Uh-huh.
This is the fringe. This is nothing but thread.
Really?
No yarn whatsoever.
Wow, that's a lot of thread.
That's a lot of thread. That's a lot of thread. That's why you get the big cones, not the little ones.
And what is this that you're making?
This is going to be a vest.
Oh, so what's this, the back?
This is the back.
Oh, it's beautiful. And it's just thread.
It's just thread. Isn't
That's
it
amazing.
marvelous? Now let me show you. What we're going to do is you're going to get your links of thread, and I'll show you right over here. Again, it's the same technique. We're going to stitch across the bottom, and then we're going to take our thread with our fingers. We're going to go here, go under the hopping foot again. And I'm trying to do this in different directions to show you all that you can go in all different kinds of directions to do this.
That's one of the beauties of using a long arm machine.
It is.
You can do that.
You just want to make sure you're under the hopping foot so
Yes.
you won't catch any of your threads.
Right.
Go across it. Again, go under the hopping foot, under the hopping foot, and stitch across. Let me move this out of the way.
That's what it looks like.
You're going to bring it down. You're going to stitch across it again.
Now, could you layer
Fringe.
more of this?
You could layer as
that
much
what
of
you
it
did
as you
here?
wanted to. Yes, this is actually only 2 strands of yarn.
Oh,
Okay, this is another little wonderful technique that you can use, and I call it capturing. And this is where I save all of my little threads
Yep.
from the ends of my bobbins that aren't enough to really quilt with, but I save them and I put them in a little plastic baggie.
well, they're so pretty. I hate to throw them away. They're gorgeous.
They're
But what
just
to do with them?
Well, this is what you do. You get nylon netting, and you can get any color that you want to. Here is the netting, and I'm going to stitch this 3 times all the way around.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to stitch it completely closed because I need to get the thread in there. Then I'm going to get my thread, and the secret to this is don't put a big wad of thread in there, but just a manageable amount.
It's like stuffing a stuffed
It's
animal.
like
a little bit
stuffing
at
a stuffed
time.
animal. And this is just a wooden skewer.
Uh-huh.
I am going to take the thread and I'm going to stuff it in with this little wooden skewer, like so. And I can actually guide the thread where I want it to go. And that way I can get some shading.
It's shaded, and you've totally recolored the flowers.
Completely.
It isn't orange anymore.
It doesn't make any difference. And then I will go in, I will completely sew around,
Uh-huh.
and then I will take my wonderful scissors,
Those zinger scissors.
the zinger scissors, and I will cut around the very edge here and get rid of the netting.
This is a great recycling project. Instead of throwing away all those pieces of thread, we're turning it into artwork.
And not just thread, but yarn, bits of ribbon, fabric,
Yarn.
anything.
Yarn.
You can use it all.
Ooh, what fun. Well, we'll be back with more Quilted, and Cathy will show us what else she has up her sleeve to use our long arm machine to make art. In this short takes on long arm quilting, we're going to learn about bobbins. As sewers, we were taught not to mess with the adjustment of the tension on our bobbins, but with long arm quilting, it's a whole different world. Vicki Hoth is an expert on long arm quilting. Could you tell us about bobbins?
Well, you know, a long time ago, our grandmothers, they were told by their sewing machine dealers not to touch that bobbin case screw, that little tiny screw. Well, we're throwing that out the window.
Oh, right. Hey,
We're
we're liberated.
free. That's right, we're liberated. The key to this is the bobbin tension is our foundation.
Okay.
Okay, it's like building a house. We build that foundation first, and then we work with the top tension. So we're going to set the bobbin tension first.
How do we do that?
Well, you start with a full bobbin because that weight of the bobbin gives that drop that we need as we lift this off our hand. So
Okay.
I'm going to place this with my hand, and I'm going to lift it off. And I'm going to lift it off,
Yeah.
and I'm going to lift it off.
Is this one too loose?
Good job! Okay, it is too loose, so we would need to tighten that. All right? And to tighten it, there's a little tiny screw, and we use our little screwdriver, and we would tighten that, and it's a very minor adjustment.
Okay.
All right?
And then test it again.
And then test it again.
Okay.
So we'll start with our next one. I'm going to lift it off.
Is that one too tight?
Good
like
job,
there's
Jody.
total tension.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I can't even bounce it. It's so tight.
So we
I'm
want
running a
something
slide.
in between.
In
there.
between. And so this third one, we have this set correctly, and as we lift this up, this will slide slowly down like a spider on a web.
Oh, so that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, once we've set the bobbin tension, is it set for every thread?
Oh, no, of course not.
Because there's all those threads out there that we want to use.
Yeah, the wonderful threads we want to use.
And I don't want to say, well, my bobbin is set for this type of thread only. I want to be able to use all those threads.
So when you know how to do this,
then you make an adjustment. But as you place each new bobbin in there, you still want to test. Just do that little drop test to make sure that works.
Okay.
And sometimes lint will get underneath that tension spring, and then that creates a different bobbin tension. So to clean that out, you can either use a straight pin and slide under it, or a handy-dandy business card, and it slides out the lint.
great.
Now, Jody, I want to show you some bad stitching and some bad stitching. Looks okay on the top. It's a little loose.
Yep, does not look good. Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
So, having set my bobbin tension correctly, this is my top thread. What is the problem?
It has to be the top. Oh, so now you're not left sitting there saying, well, I'm going to futz around with the top and the bottom and try to get it. You
That's
know
right.
the bottom's right.
This is too
That's
loose,
great.
so it's really looping on the back. If my bobbin tension is set correctly and it looks like this,
Yicky yick.
it's too tight on the top.
Yes.
Everything is a top issue.
Yay. Oh, it's great. It is liberating.
That's right. You can make that adjustment, and then you understand. Let's
Yep.
go to the top thread.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Vicki. This has been great information.
Let's start sewing.
That's right. Oh, yeah. It's all about the sewing. For more information, go to qnntv.com. This is great. You should choose the best thread for your quilt because you're making an heirloom that will last for years. YLI makes thread for every need. Choose YLI's Long Arm Pro Thread and YLI Machine Quilting Thread for your long arm quilting projects. Both are 40 weight and come in gorgeous solid and variegated colors. For a different look, try YLI Fine Metallic or YLI Silk 100 Thread in solid or variegated colors. Both perfect choices for long arm machines. YLI Thread, we designed it for you. Paintbrush Studios brings the high quality and experience of a 40-year-old fabric company and a friendly Midwestern attitude to your local quilt shop with our exclusive fabric lines. From the staple group of blenders to the exciting new collections introduced each season, Paintbrush Studios fabrics are created with the quilt maker in mind. Visit the Paintbrush Studios website to download the free pattern for Crystal Rainbow and create your own treasure. Welcome back to Quilt It. I'm here again with Cathy Franks, who is totally blowing my mind with all the techniques she's come up with. Check this one out.
This is my very favorite, bar none.
I can
Jody.
believe it.
My very favorite. Fabric Quilt sent me some wonderful fabric. This is the piece that they sent me. And I absolutely love it, but it wasn't the colors that I wanted.
So you made it your own.
I made it my own. I looked at it and I said, this has fabulous bones. The design is exactly what I want. But what I did is I took this and turned it into this.
That is that. Can you believe it? And how'd you do it?
I did. Oh, it's so easy. It is
Everything
so
you've done
simple.
today is
It is so
easy.
simple. This is called Flash and Trash.
Ooh, Flash
It is
and
called
Trash.
Flash and Trash, and it is so easy to do.
So Cathy, which is the flash and which is the trash?
It doesn't make any difference. It's whichever one you want. Well, let me show you how to do this.
You're so easy to get along with.
I try. This is the fabric to begin with.
A pretty batik.
Pretty batik. You cut it up into little tiny bits, and you sprinkle it over Wonder Under, and you press it to make sure that it adheres.
Couldn't be easier than that.
Couldn't be easier. What this turns out to is into this.
Oh, so you've changed the black and white center of the flower into the pretty batik lavender.
Exactly. Now let me show you. This is my favorite
That's
batik
the
that they
petals.
have. That's the petals. Cut up. And this is what it turns into.
Well, it's awfully pretty trash.
It's beautiful trash. It's beautiful trash. Now let me show you exactly how you're going to go about doing this. I like to make my flash and trash the day before because I find that the Wonder Under takes about 24 hours to really adhere and make it easy for you to get off the paper backing.
Oh, really?
I have found that. So let me show you how simple this is. You're going to take your Wonder Under and you're going to get a piece of it.
So you still have the backing on?
I still have the backing on. And what you want are you want little bits.
Okay.
Little bits. And you can see that it's got the adhesive on the back
sticky
of
film,
it.
yep.
And what I did with these flowers is I took this and filled in. And you see how I can get big pieces.
Chunks.
off. So I just will tear off little pieces and place them right here in the center like this. And fill the whole thing up. And
So
you see how quick that is.
Absolutely. Does it matter if the fabric shows through?
No, because I'm going to cover the rest of it with another color of fabric.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I am.
Woo.
So what you're going to do now is you're going to take, and I like to use parchment paper, and you can barely see it here, but I have BP written on here.
Because?
Because that way I can see that it's the right side up, because you can get glue on the back of this.
Okay.
And you don't want to get glue on your iron.
Got it.
You will take your iron now, and you will press it.
Right here on the long arm machine?
Right here on the long arm. And what's so wonderful about the long arm is, especially with a steam iron, the steam will go right through, and it'll really give you a nice press. So now it's on. We're going to lift this up. Now we're going to get some netting, and again, it can come in any color that you want to, but I find usually a darker color like black or dark burgundy or wine tends to work the best for me.
What does the color do?
The color helps, well, number one, the netting helps to hold all the little bits in place, and the color helps to add a subtle little difference to the flash and trash that you're going to be using. So you want to audition it before you put it on.
Yes.
So what I do is I just hold it over to see if I like the effect. Okay, so now I'm going to lay that down. I'm going to, again, lay my parchment paper on. I'm going to put my iron on it, and because there's still some adhesive, that will help to adhere the netting to the whole thing. Now, normally, I would cover my whole flower.
You'd have all your trash down.
Right. I would do it in segments because if you don't, if you do the whole thing, some of this stuff may have a little party and get moved all around. So you can do it in segments.
Okay. Would you have cut one big piece of the netting?
Yes.
Okay.
I try to cut one big piece, but you know, if you don't, you can overlay the netting.
Well, that's true. It's all about layering.
What is so wonderful about this technique is there is no right or wrong way to do it.
Invent
it's your way
yourself.
to do it. Exactly. Now what we're going to do is bring the machine over, and now we're just going to stitch it down. It's very, very simple.
Now, are you using a thread that accentuates, or do you want it to go in the background, or how do you choose your
It's my
thread?
choice. A lot of times, I really like to use black thread because I help see how it gives what I call architectural detail.
Oh, it does. It's bony.
To this look. And I can come in and even add a little pebbling.
Oh, yeah.
In this. Now, you not only use fabric for this, but you can use thread. For this technique. Let me move the machine out of the way. This is really exciting. This is another YLI thread that I adore called foliage. It's my favorite green.
Foliage?
Foliage. Now this I want you to be very careful and watch where your fingers are at all times.
You have a razor blade.
I have a single-edged razor blade. Make sure the razor part is down, not up.
Yes.
I've done that in the past.
Oh, no.
Hold your thread down on a steady surface.
Okay.
And you're going to take your razor blade and you're going to cut across.
Oh.
And you see how it opens up the thread?
Yes.
Then you're going to take this thread and lay it down and rotary cut through it.
Oh, into pieces.
Into little pieces. Now, another wonderful thread from YLI, and this is my favorite decorative thread by them, it's called Candlelight.